Alright, welcome to the cabin. This is going to be an instructional video on how to get in, turn the water on, and all that stuff. So we'll start with the lock on the front door. You have to call us for the combination. In this case, the combination is 1111. So you push 1111, then slide the open down, and then the key's on the back side of that thing. And then you lift this little tab out, and then you can slide the lock out. Then you can use the key to get in. Okay. Okay, now that you were able to unlock it and get in, the next thing you want to do is turn the generator on so you have electric. So we'll go through that now.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Oh, we're supposed to be playing now?
The keys are hanging right inside the door to the right. And then you want to come over here to the generator shack. There's 4 keys on this ring, 5 keys. Worst case scenario, you try all 5 till you get the right one. Set the generator on the rock, and then to start it, push that button to the on position. Now this generator was running a minute ago, so we don't need to choke it. But if it was a cold start, you'd need to pull the choke out, pull the cord usually once or twice, and it should start. Then after it runs for about 30 seconds, you can push the choke back in, and then it's good to go. So we don't need to choke it now because it was running not long ago. And after the generator's running, then you need to find the extension cord in here. It's this one. The other end is plugged into the short black cord there. Then you plug the other end into the generator. Now you have electric at the cabin. And here's the lid for the generator so it doesn't get all rained on. Alright. Okay, so now we're back here at the front of the cabin again. So we'll go around back to turn the gas on next. To turn the gas on, you simply turn the gas valve open. That's to the left. And if you run out of gas, this one should be full, and there should be more in the tank, in the generator shack. More full tanks in the generator shack. And if you do empty a gas tank, take it out to town and get it filled or replaced.
You can do that at Rudders.
Yeah, you can do that at Rudders, and there's several places around to do that. Okay, so now that you have the cabin unlocked, the electric, and the gas is turned on, the next thing is going to be the water. So the way this is set up, there's some plumbing lines that run on the outside of the cabin. And so when you turn the water on, we really only want the water to the kitchen sink. You can't run water to anywhere in the cabin except the kitchen sink, unless it's above freezing outside. If there's no chance of any frost, then you can run the bathroom and the little hand wash and sink. But we're going to show you how to turn the water on as though it's freezing conditions and you're only getting water to the kitchen sink. So we'll go on around inside of the kitchen sink and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so before you turn any water on, you want to take a look at this yellow handled valve here. Right now it's in the off position. Now it's in the on position. That should be in the off position when you first turn the water on. There's another valve under here, this red one. That's just for a future water line. Don't touch that, leave that in the off position. So now that you know that the valve is closed, that only the kitchen sink is going to get water, the next thing you do to turn the water on is you come down here to the drain line and take this off. It's important that this is on when nobody's here so critters don't get up there and chew on all the valves and things or build a nest or something like that. So you want to come and take that off. That's the first thing you do. So now that that lid's off of the drain line and the valve is in the closed position at the kitchen sink on the inside of the cabin, the next thing you do is up at the reservoir up at the top of the property. So now we're going to walk up there and show you what to do up there. Okay, so here we are up at the reservoir. So this is where we collect the water. It's about 250 feet or so upstream from the cabin, so we get good water pressure. So first thing you want to do is, if it's fall and there's leaves in here, just push all the leaves out through here so this is nice and clean in here. And then you want to make sure that usually there's a cork in the end of there that got lost somewhere along the way. We'll have to get a new one, I guess. But take the cork out of the end and put it somewhere where you can put it back in when you leave. You don't want to lose that. So then you take, after the cork's out, you take this filter, stick it on the end, stick it all the way down against this little rubber O-ring here. Keeps dirt from getting into the cabin. And then you take the lid and you close it up. And then it'll take, depending on what time of year it is, how fast the stream's flowing, it'll take 30 seconds or 10 minutes to fill. Then once it's filled, the water's going to filter through the filter into the line and down, back down to the cabin. So if the water flow is really slow, it can kind of be a bugger to get this line charged, but 9 times out of 10, it shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, one thing I almost forgot. You want to make sure there's a rock underneath this so that there's a slight grade from the end of the pipe going downhill to where it goes into this pipe. Otherwise, the pipe won't fill full of water. Okay, so after you fill up the reservoir up at the top, up there, the water should be running into the pipe, and it may take several minutes. Again, it depends a little on the flow of the creek. But you want to wait until there's a steady flow of water coming out of the drain line, about like we have now. Then after you have a good steady flow, then you come back up here to the manhole. And this here handle here, all you do is push that down. Then that'll redirect the water so it's not flowing out the drain line anymore, but rather flowing into the kitchen sink, and the kitchen sink only, because that yellow valve is closed. So now you should have water to the kitchen sink only. But if it's summertime or there's absolutely no chance of frost, you can open that valve, that yellow valve under the kitchen sink, which we've already done. Then you can come around the back here and you can see how the water will then fill these lines. So then what you want to do is you want to take this T. If you look, it'll let water run through there, but not there. So take the end that's plugged up, plug that line up, and water will fill up into the bathroom. But again, only do this if there's absolutely no chance of freezing. The way the plumbing used to be at the cabin, you could fill these lines up and you could just let the bathroom sink drip a little bit and it wouldn't freeze. But we've changed some of the plumbing and you can't really do that anymore. So only do this if you know there's absolutely no chance of freezing. Okay, so the water comes into the bathroom there at that where you see the blue handle there. So the water will come in and it'll fill the toilet, and you can use the toilet just like you would your toilet at home. And you can use the sink here. Obviously, it's cold water on both. There is no hot water. So then that brings us to the shower. So the way the shower works is, if you want to take a hot shower, you need to fill the cooler up with water, which you can do with this red handled faucet there. And then use this thing to drop into the cooler, plug it in. You can turn it on here. It's currently on to heat the water. Then when it's time to take a shower, what you do, I'll try to get into a position here where you can see what's going on. So when it's time to take a shower, you take this line off its rest here. This is the intake to the pump. Drop this line in to your hot water. And then you take this line, you drop this into the water as well. So what's going to happen with the hot water is, you're going to turn the pump on. That's the pump. So what's happening now is, it's siphoning the hot water through this line, through the pump, back down into this line, and then into here, and it's coming back out here, and it's just circulating and putting it back into the tank. It's just circulating the hot water now. So when it's time to take a shower, you want to make sure the pump's on and turn this valve to the off position. That'll automatically shut the pump off. So when it's time to take a shower, you want to just crack this open so the pump is running and not pulsating, like this. There it's pulsating, you want a little more. Right about there is where you want it for a shower. So turn the pump on like that, and then that's gonna, with that being cracked open, it's gonna allow some hot water to come into the valve for the shower. So you have hot water come in on the hot side, and then the cold water line comes in from the pressure from the reservoir on the cold side. So once it's set up like this, then you can just shower like a normal shower. That's all the way hot. There's a little air in the line, I guess. So that's all the way hot, and then it mixes to all the way cold. And then when you're done with your shower, turn that off. And with that being off, about every 10 minutes or so, the pump will just run for a split second and shut off. So if no one else is going to get in the shower right away, the best thing to do is to turn this off and just go ahead and cut the power to the pump too. So when everyone's done taking a shower, what you want to do is turn the heater off. Don't leave the heater on longer than what you need to heat the water anyway. You want to turn the heater off, and you want to take the heater and put it up out of the way, which it hangs nicely up there. Then you want to turn the pump back on, turn the circulator valve on, and let it run. And then I'm going to pull the intake line out until all the water runs through. See the air going through? Now all the water's through. So now I'll pull this line out as well. It should just be air coming out of there, which it is. Then you turn the pump off. Turn this valve back off. Then you can hang the lines back up where they were. One more thing about the shower. You don't want that water any hotter than what you can hold your hand in there. Because if it gets too hot, it'll ruin the pump. I think the pump's rated for like 120 degrees or something like that. So if you can't hold your water in the hot water, don't run it. It's too hot. So when you're all done with the shower, make sure that this handle is all the way clockwise in the off position. If it's cracked open just a little bit, water can back down through and drain out these lines and drip all over the floor and make a mess. So here we are out at the back of the cabin by the chimney. Please, if you don't have any experience with a wood stove, wood heat is the only source of heat for the cabin. So if you come up when you're going to need heat, you have to bring someone with you who's familiar with a wood stove. If you would, by some chance, have a chimney fire, the best thing to do is don't dump water down the chimney. Come around to the back here with a fire extinguisher, which is in the cabin. Open up, get the fire extinguisher all ready to go. Open this up, and as soon as it's open, squirt the fire extinguisher up in there, and it'll carry the stuff that comes out of the fire extinguisher up through the chimney and put the fire out. That's a last resort though. Really, there's really no reason to have a chimney fire. We keep the chimney clean. Please don't learn how to use a wood stove at the cabin here. Make sure someone's here that knows how to use it. Alright, so we hope you enjoy your stay here at the cabin. Here's a few things you need to do before you leave. It's basically everything we already did in reverse. Just thoroughly vacuum all the floor surfaces and rugs. Don't bring any dogs. Some of the people that own the cabin are allergic to dogs, and this is really important. If you bring your dog in there the next time someone comes up that's allergic to dogs, they're up here sneezing and carrying on the whole time, and that's no fun. So please don't bring any dogs in the cabin. So you want to sweep and clean everything. Use a mop bucket and a mop on the kitchen floor. That hardwood surface will take a mop bucket. The rest of the cabin, just use the Swiffer mop with a moist pad. All that stuff's in the cabin. Wipe down all counters, tabletops, sinks. Clean out the refrigerator if you use it. This door here has a refrigerator in it. If you want to use that, give me a call and I'll explain to you how to use it. Otherwise, you have to just use ice chests. Make all the beds. Keep the toilet lid closed and also the reservoir for the shower. Completely dry that reservoir and close the lid so no critters get inside there. Make sure you wash and dry all the dishes and put them away. You can read this list for yourself, what you have to do before you leave. Do not burn trash. Take all your trash home with you. Don't burn any. Let's see. Make sure you turn the gas off. Make sure when you disconnect the water, do everything in the reverse of what we did when we hooked it up. And when you leave, make sure all the faucets are open so that they drain out. That's especially important in freezing conditions. Make sure you close and lock all the doors. And the tree house over there, make sure that that door is also closed and locked. I think that's everything. So read over this list. It hangs right inside a door to the left. Tells you everything you need to do when you leave. And there's another list on laminated paper similar to this. It hangs up where the key for the generator shack is. That has some cabin rules. Go ahead and read that as well. So if you have any questions, you can call me or Kelly.